Thanks for watching YouTube Medical University. Daily, patients with diverse issues visit my clinic. Doctor, I've been feeling dizzy lately and I can't concentrate on my work. Waking up in the morning, I feel like there's an iron plate on my back and my body is heavy. I've been suffering from unexplained stomach pain for a long time. People like this all have very exhausted expressions. Doctor, no matter which hospital I go to, they tell me the cause is unknown. They say, it's probably stress, but is it really stress? If you're watching this video, if you or someone around you is experiencing this, let me make it clear. It's definitely not your imagination. It's a warning signal and save our souls from your body desperately trying to tell you something is wrong. So, the term depression often evokes thoughts of feeling down or tearful, but there are other unexpected symptoms that many people are unaware of. Most people imagine mental symptoms. However, in actual clinical settings, it's common for mental distress to show up as physical signs. Depression can disguise itself as physical pain or unexplained symptoms. So this time I'll talk about the often overlooked physical signals your body sends out. I'll introduce 10 carefully selected symptoms as save our soul signals, along with real stories of patients I've met in the consultation room. The stories I share today are not just someone else's problem. They could be your story or the story of someone important to you. Please, listen all the way to the end with me. So here is today's agenda. First, in the first section, I'll briefly explain why mental issues appear as physical symptoms and introduce the interesting relationship between the brain and the body. Then, in the second section, I'll present the 10 save our soul signals from the body that you shouldn't overlook. In the third section, I'll talk about ways to protect your mind and body that you can start practicing today. I'll introduce the 5 best self-care habits to protect yourself. So, let's start with the first section. Why does our body hurt even though it's a mental issue? The key to solving this mystery actually lies in our brain. The brain isn't just an organ for thinking or feeling things. It controls everything throughout our entire body. It acts as a sort of command center that controls every part of the body. And within this command center, neurotransmitters like noradrenaline and serotonin, these brain hormones that transmit signals, are extremely important. You could say they're like internal company emails. Using these hormones, which are like internal emails, the brain communicates throughout its different areas. The brain's departments communicate with each other in this manner. Your autonomic nervous system, which controls sweating, heart rate, pain perception and sleep rhythms, is linked to your emotional states, whether you feel down or happy. Things like your appetite and similar functions are also affected. It manages the very important parts necessary to sustain life. Depression is a condition where this command center can no longer fulfill its role. If it affects the autonomic nervous system, you may experience palpitations or dizziness. If there is an error in the part that senses pain, you may have unexplained pain. If there is an error in the part that controls daily life, appetite, or sleep, you may not be able to sleep even though you are tired, or your appetite may decrease. All kinds of symptoms can appear. This is the mechanism by which mental distress manifests as physical symptoms. I think it's harder to forget if you remember the reasons as well, and by remembering the reasons like this, you can avoid regretting catching incorrect information. So, from now on, in the next 2 periods, I'll talk about 10 signals your body sends. I'll introduce save our soul signs, but all of them are symptoms that come from errors in the brain, which acts as the command center. Please listen carefully. 10 save our soul signs your body sends. Symptoms include difficulty sleeping or excessive sleeping. Doctor, I can't sleep is one of the most common complaints I encounter in my outpatient clinic. This is about Mr. E, a 53-year-old manager who came to see me recently. Mr. E said the following: because of work pressure, I've been waking up several times during the night lately. I woke up at 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. this morning. Seeing the clock made me anxious, thinking I couldn't sleep again. After 4, I couldn't fall back asleep. Work thoughts run through my mind at night, leaving me exhausted by morning. This anxiety about insomnia creates a vicious cycle, making sleep even harder. They complained about these symptoms. With depression, some people sleep too much. Doctor, on my days off, I don't feel like seeing anyone. I end up sleeping about 12 hours a day. But could this be depression? You can't diagnose depression based on this symptom alone, but it could be that your brain is sending a signal wanting you to rest your brain at least on your days off, which causes this excessive sleepiness. I think that's also a possibility. A characteristic of insomnia in depression is what's called early morning awakening. This means waking up early in the morning. So if you wake up early, You start thinking about all sorts of things and can't fall back asleep, and then you feel sleepy during the day and can't concentrate on work. This kind of symptom is a common pattern in depression. Please be careful and remember this. The second of the 10 Save Our Soul signs your body sends is unexplained. It's about fatigue and a sense of exhaustion. This is the story of Ms. A housewife in her 40s who works part-time. Ms. A said the following: "I have to get up early in the morning to make my child's lunch, but lately my body just won't move. It's like something is dragging me down and my legs feel heavy. My husband tells me I'm just tired, but that's not it. In my mind, I feel like I have to do it, and I want to make the lunch, but my body just won't move. Doctor, is there a disease like this? Is it possible that the nerves in my legs are damaged or something like that? It's really hard for me to be seen as lazy. Like this." After various exams, interviews and tests, she was diagnosed with depression. Despite her desire to do things, her body and legs feel heavy, making it difficult for her to move. These symptoms can manifest in depression. Some people say their bodies feel as heavy as if they're covered in lead. It's especially tough in the morning, so things like going to work or making lunch for their kids in the morning become really difficult. They can no longer do housework and are misunderstood as lazy by others, worsening their depression. Many experience this physical heaviness. They think there must be some kind of illness, so they go to internal medicine or all sorts of departments, but they can't get a diagnosis. In the end, it's often found to be physical symptoms caused by depression, so please remember these symptoms as well. Even though you feel like you have to do something, your body just won't move. These kinds of symptoms might actually be an Save Our Soul sign from your mind. The third of the top 10 Save Our Soul signs your body sends is this: feeling like your head is heavy. Mr. B, a 30-something engineer, arrived at the outpatient clinic with a thick file of test results. "My headache has persisted for 3 months, doctor. I went to neurosurgery and had a magnetic resonance imaging, and I also saw a neurologist, but they both said there was nothing wrong. But this headache still hasn't gone away and I'm still suffering right now. What should I do?" I'm an engineer and do a lot of desk work, so they said it might be from looking at screens too much or from stiff shoulders. I thought that might be true, so I tried stretching and various things, but it hasn't gotten any better at all. Even now, I have a throbbing, squeezing pain, like I'm constantly wearing a small helmet. What could this be? Mr. B thought about it very logically, did a lot of research, and went to all kinds of hospitals, but he couldn't figure out the cause of this headache. Mr. B said that even when he took painkillers, his headache didn't improve at all. Like this, a headache that doesn't respond well to painkillers and continues for 24 hours straight could possibly be a physical symptom caused by depression. As I mentioned in the first part, the area that senses pain is also located in the brain's control center. If there's an error in this part of the brain, it can lead to unexplained pain in places like the stomach or the head. A hypothesis suggests nerves may have become oversensitive. There are also dangerous and other types of headaches. There are various conditions like stroke, cerebral infarction, cerebral hemorrhage, migraines, and tension headaches, but please remember that these kinds of symptoms can also appear with depression. The fourth of the 10 Save Our Soul signs your body sends is dizziness and so on. It's a feeling of lightheadedness. This symptom is quite common. When someone says they feel floaty or unsteady, I start to wonder if it might be related. This is the story of Miss Shai, a woman in her late 30s who worked in an office job. Miss Shai was troubled by dizziness and visited 3 different ear, nose and throat clinics. After undergoing various tests like ear exams and EEGs that showed no issues, she visited my clinic. While recounting her experience, she mentioned that it occurred when she was walking. She felt like she was standing on a soft trampoline, as if the ground was swaying beneath her. People couldn't understand her struggle since it wasn't a spinning sensation. They dismissed it as her imagination or lack of sleep. The constant deep ringing in her ears was also difficult. Not being understood was the hardest part. She asked the doctor if it could be a brain disease and what other tests should I get. That's what she asked when she came to see me. As I listened to her story, I learned that Ms. Shi, who works in an office, had recently changed jobs, and her new supervisor was quite harsh in the way they spoke. Around that time, she also started having trouble sleeping at night. She couldn't sleep at night, and for no apparent reason, she would start crying on her way to work. When I asked her in detail about these symptoms, she finally opened up to me. Very few people realize that the dizziness they're experiencing at work is actually caused by mental stress. However, it's quite common for psychological stress to manifest as physical symptoms. In my experience, this kind of floating dizziness often happens when the autonomic nervous system is out of balance, making it hard to regulate blood pressure. This can cause a floating sensation, sudden spikes in blood pressure, or a heavy feeling in the head, which many people describe as dizziness. Please remember this: the body sends signals. The fifth Save Our Soul sign includes nausea, stomach discomfort, constipation, and diarrhea. Mr. D, a salesperson in his 50s, had reflux esophagitis and gastritis for years and took stomach medicine. He told me, "Doctor, no matter how much stomach medicine I take, it just doesn't get any better. Especially on the night before an important presentation, my stomach hurts sharply and I get this strange nausea that keeps me from sleeping." At my previous hospital, they did a gastroscopy and found mild stomach irritation. I've been taking medicine for it. There's no sign of it getting better at all, and I keep alternating between diarrhea and constipation, so when I go out, I get anxious if there's no bathroom nearby. And doctor, should I get a colonoscopy or a computed tomography scan? I think this is a typical example of the brain-gut connection. Have you all heard of the brain-gut connection? The brain and the gut are connected. I'm sure many of you have experienced this. For example, suddenly getting a stomach ache or feeling nauseous in a very stressful situation. Have you ever had symptoms like that? The brain, which acts as the control tower, also manages the autonomic nervous system, and the autonomic nervous system controls the movement of the stomach and intestines. When you're nervous, your stomach's movement can either stop excessively, causing nausea as food doesn't go down, or churn too much, resulting in stomach pain or diarrhea. These reactions are common. Depression is no exception. Depression can also cause those kinds of symptoms. Since errors occur in the command center of the brain, it's common for symptoms like these to appear as gastrointestinal issues. Are you familiar with a condition called irritable bowel syndrome? This is different from depression. It's a different condition, but irritable bowel syndrome is also closely related to stress in the brain. You may suddenly experience stomach pain and diarrhea, or on the other hand, sudden stomach pain and constipation. These kinds of symptoms also occur because they are connected to the brain. Irritable bowel syndrome is a medical condition that often co-occurs with depression. For more information on irritable bowel syndrome, check out the video linked in the description. The sixth of the 10 Save Our Soul signs your body sends is shortness of breath and palpitations. I work in software development. Ms. E26 takes the train to work. As the doors close, her symptoms begin to manifest. Suddenly, she can't hear any of the surrounding sounds, and all she can hear is the thumping of her own heartbeat. It sounds as if it's beating right next to her ear. As this happens, even when she tries to breathe in, she can't get enough air. Her chest starts pounding, and she begins to feel suffocated. Then her hands start to go numb. She gets scared, and she gets off at the next station. She thought, "If this keeps up, I might die." Doctor, what could these symptoms be? For those who have studied this, many might think of panic attacks when they hear about these symptoms. After listening to Miss E's story in detail, she met the diagnostic criteria for panic attacks. Actually, the symptoms of a panic attack include a pounding chest, numbness in the hands, feeling like you can't breathe, and ringing in the ears. Physical symptoms, bodily symptoms. Depression often manifests as physical symptoms, and many sufferers also experience panic attacks. As discussed earlier, panic attacks are also symptoms of autonomic nervous system dysfunction, sharing similar causes with depression. This explains the frequent co-occurrence of depression and panic attacks. For the person experiencing it, a panic attack feels unbearable and terrifying, as if they might die if it continues. Many people don't know that symptoms like these can appear with panic attacks or depression, so they might think you're just being lazy or lying to avoid going to work. The reality is that there's often a lack of understanding and a lot of misunderstanding from those around you. In fact, I myself have experienced panic attacks in the past. Repeating panic attacks can make you anxious, and then you may end up developing panic disorder or panic syndrome. There's a detailed video explaining these conditions, so if you're interested, please check it out from the link in the description. The seventh Save Our Soul sign your body sends is stiff shoulders and lower back pain. When you hear about stiff shoulders or back pain, most people probably think it's an orthopedic issue, maybe from overusing your shoulders or back. However, similar to the headaches I mentioned earlier, sometimes these pains in your shoulders or back actually turn out to be physical symptoms of depression, and you only realize this after you start treatment. Doctor, it's been about 6 months. I've had a persistent dull pain near my right shoulder blade. An orthopedic clinic diagnosed me with a straight neck, likely caused by excessive phone use, which they say is probably the source of the pain. Right now I go to rehab twice a week. It feels good at the time, but the pain just keeps lingering and never really goes away. Ms. F, a woman in her 40s who works at a call center, visited the outpatient clinic complaining of an uncomfortable sensation of something clinging to her all day long. I had various tests done at the orthopedic clinic, but it seems that the pain in my right shoulder blade isn't just caused by my straight neck, so the orthopedic doctor referred me here. Of course, things like a straight neck. It's common for symptoms like these to be caused by cervical spondylosis or deformities in the neck bones. However, in Miss F's case, through the course of her treatment, she was ultimately diagnosed with depression. By taking medication and undergoing psychotherapy, the dull, stuck-on pain in her right shoulder blade eventually disappeared. This is because when someone develops depression, the brain chemicals used to process pain. Hormones like serotonin are involved. But when their function weakens, the ability to suppress pain is lost. The brakes on pain stop working. As a result, symptoms that normally wouldn't be felt as pain can end up feeling very intense. Things that normally wouldn't be felt as pain at all can feel like severe pain. People around might wonder why someone seems to be in so much pain over something so minor. But for the person experiencing it, it can be unbearable. Please keep that in mind. I really want people around to understand this, and honestly, if you've watched this far, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that almost any symptom could potentially be a physical symptom caused by depression. I hope you'll at least remember that much from today. The 8th of the 10 Save Our Soul Signs Your Body Sends is this: a decrease or increase in appetite. Mr. F went to graduate school in his 20s. He was working hard on his research, but then he really loved Ieke ramen. However, Mr. F said this: "Lately, I haven't been able to eat the Ieke ramen I used to love at all. Even when I eat it, it doesn't taste like anything, and I just don't feel like eating it anymore. Even though I used to love it so much, it feels like I'm not myself anymore, and it's kind of scary. I've recently lost my appetite and some weight. Feeling worn out from the summer, he suggested getting an intravenous drip or something similar to help." Loss of appetite is also included in the diagnostic criteria for depression, and a decrease in the desire or interest to eat something delicious is one of the very important symptoms of depression. Losing interest in things you once loved and lacking appetite for delicious food are dangerous symptoms. Somehow, if you've recently lost your appetite or have been losing weight, the possibility that these are symptoms of depression increases. On the other hand, there are also people who develop increased appetite or overeating as a pattern of depression. It is thought that eating is a biological defense response to try to relieve stress. In either case, the brain controls the important function of appetite. So errors in the brain can cause your appetite to suddenly decrease or increase. So everyone, have you experienced dry mouth or an abnormal taste before? If so, please share your symptoms in the comments. While not well known, this is the 9th of the top 10 Save Our Soul Signs Your Body Sends and can be very tough for those experiencing it. When your mouth stays dry, it can start to hurt, and even when you eat, you don't have enough saliva, so it's hard to swallow. On top of that, it's difficult to taste things, so you lose the enjoyment of eating, which is a very tough symptom. For example, at meetings, when I try to speak up lately, my mouth is so dry and my throat is hoarse that my boss tells me to speak more clearly, which makes me feel down. And recently, no matter what I eat, it tastes kind of metallic. And even sweet things taste bitter, so I don't even feel like eating. Could this be dehydration? If you have worries like these? There was a man named Mr. K, a 50-year-old middle manager. Dry mouth and abnormal taste can of course occur with a collagen disease called Sjogren's syndrome. And they can also happen when the mineral zinc is low. However, actually, symptoms like dry mouth can also be caused by depression. Taste abnormalities can occur with depression. People may stop eating, leading to decreased zinc levels and impaired taste. If you have these symptoms, you should have them thoroughly examined by an internal medicine doctor. Physical symptoms may stem from mental or emotional issues, so consulting a psychiatrist is crucial. I've covered zinc deficiency in a past video, linked in the description below. The final Save Our Souls Sign Your Body Sends is losing interest or curiosity. When discussing this, it might seem like a mental symptom, but many individuals visit internal medicine doctors believing it's physical. Because they abruptly can't perform usual tasks, their hands stop moving, or their mind stops functioning properly. Numerous people encounter such symptoms and pursue help from internal medicine specialists. This is the story of Mr. G, a man in his 50s. Mr. G said the following: "I just can't get myself to go golfing on the weekends anymore, even though I used to love it so much. Even when I see my clubs gathering dust by the entrance, I don't feel anything. My wife, who usually doesn't encourage me, even suggested I should go out for a change. But when I think about changing clothes, driving to the golf course, and getting ready, my body just won't move. Sometimes I don't even feel like I want to do it. And even if I do feel a little like I want to, my body just won't move. It's like my body is frozen. Is this some kind of illness? In this way, he said this. The symptoms of depression were appearing, such as losing interest and motivation for golf, which he used to enjoy. Suddenly, his body would freeze and he couldn't move. When he thought about all the steps involved in going to play golf, his body would suddenly stop moving, or his thoughts would freeze. With depression, you can lose the ability to concentrate and think about things in order. This condition, known as psychomotor retardation, is characterized by sudden cessation of thoughts, difficulty finding words, and physical immobility. It leaves you spaced out like an empty shell and is a common symptom of depression. It's as if your brain is signaling you to conserve energy and not push yourself further. It could be an save our souls signal, even in daily activities like bathing or brushing teeth. Getting ready for work in the morning. These kinds of tasks actually involve a lot of steps, don't they? The process of taking a bath, which you usually enjoy, can feel like a troublesome multi-step task when dealing with depression. Symptoms may include reluctance to undress, grab a towel, prepare underwear, get into the bath, wash, rinse, dry off, and get changed. These could be symptoms. If you've experienced these symptoms in the past, or if you have things you struggle with, please let us know in the comments. I think it will be helpful for others, and it will reassure people that they're not alone in dealing with these issues. This is a review of the second period, 10 dangerous save our souls signs your body sends you. The first one is abnormal sleep, either being unable to sleep or sleeping too much. Second, unexplained fatigue or sluggishness. Third, symptoms like headaches or a heavy feeling in your head. Fourth, dizziness or ringing in the ears. Fifth, gastrointestinal issues like nausea, stomach pain, diarrhea, or constipation. Sixth, symptoms of panic attacks such as shortness of breath or palpitations. Seventh, pain in the shoulders, lower back or back, pain in the bones or joints. Eighth, abnormal appetite like having none or overeating. Ninth, mouth symptoms such as dry mouth or inability to taste. Lastly, 10th, symptoms like losing interest, motivation, or suddenly being unable to think. There's a lot of information, so I recommend listening multiple times or leaving notes in the comments about what you learned to help remember it better. Please utilize these tips effectively. There is a video on YouTube featuring a real-life story about Izumi Maruoka, a former Nippon television announcer, when she developed depression. It is said that she developed it due to covering the Great East Japan earthquake, overseas assignments, and an extremely busy schedule that left her with hardly any time for sleep or meals. She discusses the true causes of her depression and offers her insights on the condition. The video provides valuable information for those interested in learning more. Links are available in the description and comments. In the final period, we'll share the top 5 self-care habits you can start today to protect your mind and body. Even if you experience the symptoms discussed earlier, improving your daily habits can reduce stress, decrease your stress sensitivity, and enhance your ability to cope with stress. We will introduce lifestyle habits that can improve your resilience and ability to handle stress. The first of the 5 best self-care habits is to get 15 minutes of morning sunlight for a serotonin boost. The symptoms, like lack of sleep and fatigue that I talked about in the second period, are related to serotonin, a neurotransmitter in the brain. Hormones are closely related to this, and getting morning sunlight is expected to increase serotonin, which is a hormone that stabilizes your mood. Also, getting morning sunlight helps regulate your body clock, so it can help solve problems like having trouble falling asleep at night. So, as an action plan first, when you wake up in the morning, open the curtains and let the sunlight in. And if possible, even if it's just a little, try taking a walk, 5 minutes out and 5 minutes back, so a total of 10 minutes. While you're doing that, listen to your favorite music or move your arms and legs rhythmically and energetically. You can activate serotonin in your brain, helping wake up your mind. These are the effects you can expect. And if possible, instead of getting sunlight through a window, try to get direct sunlight on your skin. When your skin is exposed to ultraviolet rays, it produces a substance called vitamin D. In fact, vitamin D is expected to help reduce depression, although the data is not yet definitive. So please make a conscious effort to get direct sunlight. This is one of the best lifestyle habits. The second one is this. 5 minutes of rhythmic exercise. You might think it sounds silly, but please try it, even if you're skeptical. Activities like walking or dancing activate serotonin, endorphins, and other. These activities are believed to trigger the release of natural painkillers in the brain, acting as analgesics. It's easy to begin. While you're commuting or shopping, even just in your mind, try saying 1, 2, 1, 2 and move your arms and legs in big motions. Instead of thinking you have to exercise, just give yourself that mental cue. Even that alone can naturally lift your mood and make you feel brighter. Humans are actually pretty simple creatures, so please try walking with that 1, 2, 1, 2 rhythm, even if you think it sounds silly. The third strongest lifestyle habit is this, the flavor focus eating method. What is flavor focus? It's simple, just concentrate on the taste. The word mindfulness is popular right now, but focusing on something actually means separating yourself from all the other thoughts and worries that usually fill your mind. So, by appreciating what you're eating, savoring the taste, chewing thoroughly, and enjoying the texture in your mouth, by concentrating on these sensations, you create a very important time that helps isolate you from daily stress. To start, even just one bite during a meal is enough. When you take a bite of rice, focus for 3 seconds on the sweetness and the texture of the grains. Try closing your eyes. You'll notice the sensations in your mouth become sharper, and you might find the taste stronger and more delicious than usual. You might realize, wow, rice is this sweet, or the texture changes so much depending on how it's cooked. When you focus on the sensations in your mouth, you might actually find that your mind feels clearer after you finish eating. The fourth most powerful lifestyle habit is simply to sleep. This is something I want people who are experiencing the symptoms of second period to try. For those experiencing physical symptoms of the second period, it could be a sign that your brain is sending and save our souls. You might feel the need to change your lifestyle, work hard, take nightly baths, and try to live normally. These kinds of thoughts. During periods of acute stress response in the brain just wants to sleep a lot. It's your brain telling you to rest. At times like that, follow your body's needs and sleep deeply, like a log. It's okay to sleep as much as you need. Some people I've advised in outpatient care have told me that after I said this, they started sleeping a lot all at once. For a week they didn't really do anything and their self-esteem dropped, but after sleeping as much as they wanted for a week, they gradually started to feel more energetic, like going for a walk in the morning. That's what some people have told me. It's okay if you can't act during an acute stress response. Think of sleeping as your job and focus on resting as much as you can. The fifth most powerful lifestyle habit is the 3-line positive diary. Writing a diary actually helps with all the thoughts spinning around in your mind. It's a very effective way to break your train of thought. When you try to write a diary, your hand often stops, right? Sometimes you can't even recognize your own emotions. But when you actually start writing things down, you realize, oh, maybe I should have just done it this way. Writing your thoughts down can help clarify and organize your mind. Give it a try, even if it's just a few lines on the back of a flyer or on your smartphone before bed. No one will see it, so messy handwriting is fine. It could be a small success today, gratitude for those around you, or simply getting a seat on the train. Maybe your lunch tasted better than usual. Try writing down those everyday things you're thankful for, and recognize the things you were able to do. Actually, that's really important. When my mind feels foggy, I sometimes just scribble all my thoughts onto a blank sheet of paper. Please give it a try. And also, if you have any healthy habits you practice, please share them in the comments. As we keep building up healthy routines for our well-being, I hope that together with everyone at YouTube Medical University, we can all raise our health levels. How was it? Today I'll talk about the unexpected physical dangers of depression. I introduced 10 warning signs. If you think some of these might apply to you, please consider seeing a specialist, such as a psychiatrist. Or if you are worried about physical illnesses, consult an appropriate internal medicine doctor or your regular hospital. Depression does not happen because you are mentally weak. Depression is a clear case of the brain's command center making errors or not functioning properly. You may find yourself unable to send internal company emails. This is the kind of situation I'm talking about. It's crucial to recognize that this is a brain disease. I hope you can get good advice, make minor lifestyle changes, and strive for a life where each day is slightly better than the last. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button. Also, leave a comment, even a short note, to reinforce your memory. You can even write a brief diary entry in the comments if you wish. As a practicing physician, I'll keep sharing easy to understand health tips to help you get healthier. Please subscribe to the channel for more. See you in the next video, where I'll share lessons learned from my patients as a general practitioner. This book contains stories from patients about living without aging in your 70s and beyond, and lifestyles that inspired me to want to live the same way. Seniors share wisdom on living a healthy, happy life at any age, prioritizing socializing with friends over exercise and taking less medicine. Check out the full video in the description below.